Hello, I'm Ronald Barenwald, principal of Cedar Springs High School and New Beginnings High School. On behalf of the Board of Education, school administrators, the Cedar Springs Public Schools faculty and staff, I welcome you to this, the 140th commencement for Cedar Springs Public Schools for recognition of the graduating seniors from the class of 2020. Although the coronavirus pandemic, CDC and local health department procedures, and Governor Whitmer's executive orders prohibited all of us from gathering together at Red Hawk Stadium as a collective group to hold the full commencement ceremony, what they haven't taken from us is the memories of high school that you had with your classmates and your friends during your freshman, sophomore, junior, and senior year up through your last day of school on March 12th, 2020. Life is about making meaningful relationships and memories, not acquiring tangible things anyhow. Always keep that at the forefront of your thoughts as you journey through your life. It's about making meaningful relationships and memories, not acquiring tangible things. Although you missed out on some senior traditions in what usually happens the last week of your senior year, you've missed out too on your senior prom. It is still a great day to be a Red Hawk, to not only have earned your high school diploma, but completed your secondary education at either Cedar Springs High School or New Beginnings High School. That, my friend, is special. You will forever be a part of Cedar Springs Public Schools and it a part of you. Oh, wouldn't it be something if at your 5th year or 10th year class reunion, you gathered together to take that last collective walk through the high school to not only see how much the school has changed in that time, but how much you have changed as well. I doubt I will still be principal when and if this happens, but I know one thing: Cedar Springs Public Schools will make this happen for you if you come asking for it. It has been a privilege to watch you develop physically, emotionally, socially, and educationally over the past 13 years. You were all entering kindergarten when my family and I moved to Cedar Springs, and I can still recall the memory of walking Lauren into Mrs. Bentley and Mrs. Mullenberg's classroom for kindergarten. So as a proud principal and a proud dad, let me be the first to say congratulations, class of 2020. You did it and did it oh so well. In following Cedar Springs' long-standing tradition, we will begin with our student speakers. The class of 2020's Salutatorian is Miss Larissa Fettig. Larissa is the daughter of Brian and Cynthia Fettig of Cedar Springs. She plans to attend Grand Rapids Community College this fall and then transfer to a 4-year college or university to pursue a degree in the field of mathematics or engineering. Larissa has represented Cedar Springs High School the past 4 years as an outstanding player and teammate on the varsity soccer team, playing the position of defender. She was a reliable leader on the Athletic Leadership Council and would have been a senior captain of the soccer team had they had a season. During her senior year, Larissa spearheaded the effort to finish the painting of the mural home of the Cedar Springs Red Hawks on the retaining wall of the old tennis court by the Hilltop Administration Building. Academically, Larissa received a combined score of 1,330 on her SAT and demonstrated outstanding academic achievement in all of her core and elective classes, which included 9 advanced placement courses. Larissa's academic excellence and athletic abilities have earned her the following scholarships, awards, or honors. Highest academic honors with a cumulative GPA of 4.3411. OK Conference and MHSAA Scholar Athlete. AP Scholar with distinction. National Honor Society member. And the Community Service Award. Ladies and gentlemen, Miss Larissa Fettig with her salutatorian address.
So here we are, the class of 2020, watching our graduation ceremony through a computer. Many of you might be in your pajamas. None of us ever dreamed this is the way our high school career would end. But due to the coronavirus pandemic, this is where we're at. We will be the class that the history books write about, the class that missed out on the best parts of high school, the last 3 months of our senior year. Prom, senior skip day, senior all-night party, spring sports, and most importantly, our graduation. But as much as this sucks, we've all learned something, that our lives can change abruptly. We've learned to never take anything for granted, so take advantage of the days you have. Imagine if you knew you only had days to live. You would go out and do all the things you wanted to do and spend your last moments with the people you love the most, right? Well, as we have learned, none of us know when that is going to happen or when you are going to lose the opportunities that you have now. Show the people you love that you care about them. Let it be aware that you care. Don't fear the vulnerability, allow it to be your strength. Only be hated for being a good person. Volunteer often, write letters to people, do the little things like help an old lady grab something she dropped in the grocery store, if that's ever socially acceptable again. Make an effort to do something new every day, because every single person walking this earth knows something you don't. Hold on to the memories you've made. Friday night football games, homecoming assemblies, band concerts, Special Olympics basketball, or just hanging out with friends at lunch. Never forget when in AP Lit Nathaniel explained true love is not being Dollar General love, or the time during 6th grade camp when a cabin of girls snuck out at night and met with a cabin of boys, hung out on the dock, and got in trouble. Some memories can be embarrassing, like asking what a Hot Pocket is in front of Cooper's class, only to have it turn into a meme that's reposted on Snapchat for about 2 months. Or remember the time during soccer practice when Painter thought he had shorts on under his pants and pulled them down to only realize, oops. And let us never forget when Emily ran the wrong way at Powder Puff and scored for the junior team. Regardless of how embarrassing or awkward these memories are, they are the things we will remember. We all have great memories, but we still have plenty to make. Go for those late night car rides, get up early to watch the sunrise, or have coffee with your grandparents. Travel the world or whatever makes you happy. Follow your heart and make things a passion. As we have learned, life is easy when it's going as expected, but that can change in a heartbeat. Life can sometimes be difficult, but I challenge you to be a fighter. Robert Service sums up our senior year in his poem, Carry On. And so in the strife of the battle of life, it's easy to fight when you're winning. It's easy to slave and starve and be brave when the dawn of success is beginning. But the man who can meet despair and defeat with a cheer, there's the man of God's choosing. The man who can fight to heaven's own height is the man who can fight when he's losing. Carry on, carry on. Thank you, class of 2020, and always remember to carry on.
Thank you, Larissa, for your salutatorian address and your encouraging words to your classmates. Jaden Griffhorst is the son of Kevin and Michelle Griffhorst of Cedar Springs. Jaden will be attending Grand Valley State University this fall, where he has earned a full academic scholarship and plans to major in music education to one day be a high school band instructor. For the past 6 years, Jaden has been a member of the Cedar Springs band program and primarily played the trombone. He was section leader in the high school marching band for at least 3 years. He earned a combined score of 1,440 on his SAT, and based on his National Merit Qualifying Test score, he was selected to participate in the National Merit Scholarship Competition, which he finished as a finalist and a scholarship recipient. This is something we should all be proud of for Jaden, because although Cedar Springs High School has had a few students named as National Merit finalists, less than 5 have ever been named as scholarship winners to my knowledge. He has attained the highest level of academic excellence and achievement in all of his core and elective courses, which include 9 advanced placement courses. Jaden's outstanding character, academic excellence, and leadership abilities have earned him the following awards and honors. Highest academic honors with a cumulative GPA of 4.3552. Department Award winner for band. AP Scholar with distinction. National Honor Society member. Community Service Award winner. The Grand Rapids Community Foundation Mildred E. Trotsky Music Scholarship. And from Grand Valley State University, the Presidential Scholarship, the Award for Excellence Scholarship, the Alumni Heritage Scholarship, and the Trotter Tri-County Scholarship. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Jaden Griffhorst with the valedictorian address.
This simple, unpretentious Rubik's Cube means nothing. Anyways, it is an honor to represent the class of 2020. When I heard that I would be giving this speech, I did not believe that I deserved this honor. Alas, whether I deserve it or not, the honor is mine to take. Plus, what am I going to do? Walk off the stage and stop talking? As I made my way through high school, as we all have, I began to notice that while our district may be relatively small and while we may not have the highest budget, we were succeeding. Academically, our school system has consistently been highly ranked in the state of Michigan, and our sports teams, theater program, art programs have all risen above expectations, and all of this, I believe, can be attributed to the amazing teachers in Cedar Springs. I can say with certainty that every teacher I have had, from kindergarten to my senior year, cared. They not only cared for their students and their education, but they professionally taught students everything they needed to know. I learned something new in every class, and I noticed how helpful each individual teacher was with students who struggled. Teachers, your hard work and dedication does not go unnoticed. I was going to have everyone clap here, but the circumstances we are currently in prevent it. I would also like to thank my family, as they were always with me through not only my educational journey, but my life journey, and the school leadership, including people like Mr. Barenwald, who brought energy, kindness, and great preparedness to our school. Now that the introduction is over, I'll get to the point. Unlike many speeches I found on YouTube, I'm not even going to attempt to inspire you or motivate you in any way. I'm simply going to give you some advice that should be helpful. And because I'm like you, I have not gone through college, marriage, or retirement, I have actually asked people in my life who I trust for advice, because wisdom often comes with age and experience. So I have compiled all their advice here as 10 tips for your future. Tip number 1, be a good citizen. Contribute to society in a positive way. As an American, value your freedom. Stand up for those who can't stand up for themselves. Do some research and vote for politicians and policies you think will best help defend our nation, protect our freedoms, and keep people safe. Tip number 2, be grateful. We live in the greatest, wealthiest, most free country in history. We received a great education. We have the ability to pursue happiness. We can also be grateful for things that are not shared by all Americans. So think about what you have that you can be thankful for, and then have, as one of my teachers in elementary school once said, an attitude of gratitude. Most importantly, be thankful for the amazing people in your life and make sure they know how thankful you are. Tip number 3, don't live for money. Money can't buy happiness. I know this is a bit of a cliche, but sometimes phrases become cliches because they're true. And I think this is one of those times. I mean, studies show that people who won the lottery are almost never happier. Someone once told me they would rather be happy in a Ferrari than in a $2,000 car, and I laughed in hesitant agreement, but I knew that the idea was very wrong. Someone respected, who I sadly couldn't find the name of, said this: "I've never seen anyone joyfully drive a Ferrari or a Mercedes. Have you? These things may bring us momentary happiness, but they won't bring lasting joy. Sometimes the more we have, the more we want." Tip number 4, make plans, but live in the moment. Making a plan for how you want your life to go is fine. I believe that setting achievable yet optimistic goals is a good thing to do. However, you can't plan for everything, so live in the moment. Take advantage of the good times in life and enjoy the moment. Tip number 5, vision without execution is hallucination. In other words, dreams and goals will never come to fruition if you don't put in the work. So put in hard work. Even if you don't see exactly how your work affects your dream, a strong work ethic is still required. And to build a strong work ethic, you must start by working hard right now, keeping your goals in mind. Successful people worked hard to make the world a better place. For example, Martin Luther King Jr. did not just have a dream. He did everything in his power to achieve that dream. He worked hard, spoke passionately, and inspired people around the world. He kept true to his values and who he was, and he died for his dream. If you have a dream, work for it. Tip number 6, don't settle. Keep trying new things until you find what you really want to do. My dad attended the University of Michigan and got a degree in civil engineering. On all accounts, it's a pretty well-paying job. He liked it. He's pretty smart, so he's pretty good at it. But he didn't settle. He made the choice to direct a small Bible camp right here in Cedar Springs. Let's just say that the job does not pay engineer money, but it did give him more purpose to serve God and people in the way he thought best. I'm sure if you asked my dad if the transition from engineer to camp director was a good one, he would say yes, without a doubt. He's had this new job for about 20 years now, and the camp has grown a lot during this time. So take advantage of the time you have to do something you love. As seniors, we have a huge advantage over all the adults here, and that is time. Our life story is still mostly blank, and we still have time to choose what to write in the next chapter. Tip number 7, fail. We learn from failure. I fail every day. I fail to be a nice person. I fail to solve problems. I fail to work hard. Or I fail to say words right, as I'm sure you have noticed throughout the speech, and if not, I'm doing a better job than I expected. Now, I'm not saying you should purposefully fail at everything because that would defeat the point. But what I am trying to say, and possibly failing, is to make the most of every failure by learning from it. If you do this, eventually you will be better at being a nice person, solving problems, and working hard. Evaluate what you did wrong and do it differently the next time. Tip number 8, don't worry. This one resonates strongly with me because it came from my grandparents. They have gone through some tough times recently. My grandma learned she had cancer at almost the exact same time they had a house fire, which, besides causing them both injuries and destroying their possessions, forced them to stay in a hotel while their house was being rebuilt. They live in Indiana, so it's hard to be with them all the time for a lot of their trauma. However, through this pain and suffering, they made it through, and now their house is rebuilt, and my grandma is a lot better health-wise. So they were able to tell me this piece of advice they learned when my grandma first heard that she had cancer. Worry does not empty tomorrow of its sorrow, but it does empty today of its strength. Be strong today. I thought those words were very encouraging and insightful. What good does worrying really do? We can't control tomorrow, but we can control our actions today. Worrying only weakens us in the moment, so don't worry about a thing, because every little thing is going to be all right. Tip number 9, value relationships. Listen to people. Have face-to-face communication with others by turning off your phone notifications for a few minutes so you can be in the moment with people. Then, genuinely listen to them. Forgive each other, because holding grudges destroys relationships. I know a couple who everyone thought were a perfect match for each other, but they recently got divorced. In fact, almost 50% of all marriages in the US end up in divorce or separation. Forgiveness and communication are 2 essential elements of any working relationship, and not just marriages. I would even say that if members of our society forgave each other more often, communicated more clearly, less polemically or argumentatively, and compromised on actual solutions instead of almost systematically shutting down dissenting ideas, we would be a more unified and more peaceful society. I honestly believe that true discussion of differing opinions has become way more politicized than it should be. Just look at any post on social media about any current issue, and you will see debate after argument after slanderous rant, the result of which is almost never a changed mind. You will be hard-pressed to find an honest discussion about issues and solutions anywhere on social media or in the news. I have found that even people I agree with have hard times looking at the nuances of issues and having a logical discussion instead of an argument. And I find it rather depressing. So, be the breath of fresh air that this world needs, and try to forgive and communicate to build up relationships, not to tear them down. Tip number 10, the last tip. Find meaning in life. Some of you have already done this. I know I have. It is interesting that sometimes when we think of what it means to be a successful person or have a successful life, we think that we should conform to societal standards by going to college, getting a job we love that pays a lot. And this is what the world thinks success is. I mean, it makes a lot of sense, right? You go to college, make money, you retire, you have a good life, but then what? Have enough money saved to buy a nice house and car when you need it the least? I don't think success is defined by money, as I said earlier. Sure, making money is fine. Personally, I would love to be financially secure, but is that all that life is? I don't think so. We can't define a successful life by only a small part of what life really is. Life is relationships. Life is the impact you have on others. To be truly successful, find meaning and purpose in life so you can positively influence others. Devote your life to something worthwhile. Many people ridicule those who leave high school with the goal to make the world a better place because they say it's unrealistic. Chances are that you will not be able to influence millions of people, stop global warming, fix politics, stop racism, find cures to rampaging global viruses, or bring people out of poverty all before breakfast, but you will still be able to make the world a better place. How? One person at a time. One mended relationship, one new friend, one life saved, one person encouraged, and one good deed at a time. Success is achieved by finding meaning in life. Before I end, I want to recall when I thanked school faculty members and my family, and I have someone else to thank for my success in high school. I would like to thank God, because everything I accomplished and all that I am is because of Him, and I promised that I would give Him the glory, because without Him, I am nothing. When I started writing the speech, I set out to make it original by asking good people for advice they would give to graduating seniors. I may not have succeeded in this matter, however, because the advice ended up being a lot of things you've probably already heard. As I was writing, I of course was constantly thinking about how the speech would be received. Would people laugh at some of my obscure jokes? What if they laugh when I say something serious? Will people fall asleep or just skip through the speech? Or will I be engaging enough to make my points? Would people accept the advice I have compiled or even remembered it? So I worried, and as I worried, I began to look back at what I had written. And as I read, I began to see the speech less as advice from others, but advice that I myself would give if I had thought of it. And then I remembered who the advice was from: teachers, mentors, family members, and I realized that they had been teaching me these values my whole life. They had accomplished what I called tip number 10, which was the one about finding meaning and making an impact on someone's life. In a way, these tips have been ingrained in me, and in a way, I've been writing the speech for my entire life, along with those who impacted me. So I'd like to create my own piece of advice from what I discovered while writing the speech, and that is the following. Find someone who you trust and bring them your questions. I don't have all the answers, and you'll probably forget the speech in a few hours, so you'll still need advice. Don't go through life alone. I said I wouldn't end with a call to action, but I really can't help myself, so be a good citizen, be grateful, don't live for money, live in the moment, execute your vision, don't settle, learn from your failures, forgive others, listen to others, value relationships above all else, find meaning in life, and don't go through life alone. Your time has barely begun. You, class of 2020, have relationships to build, careers to plan, and goals to work hard for. You have completed your first step in your educational journey, but there will be a long road ahead of you full of twists and obstacles. You have time, so use it. Start right now. It is time for you to take this next step, and it is time for me to walk off the stage, stop talking. Thank you.
Thank you, Jaden, for your valedictorian address to the class of 2020. We wish you well at Grand Valley State University this fall. Again, thank you. Now turning to our commencement speaker, Mr. Dave Stewart. Mr. Dave Stewart grew up in Middleville, Michigan, a town similar in size to Cedar Springs, and graduated high school from Thornapple Kellogg Schools. He just recently celebrated 12 years of marriage to his fashionable wife, Crystal, this past June. They have 4 wonderful children: Hattie, Laura, Marlena, and Dean. Mr. Stewart's post-secondary education began at the University of Michigan, where he earned a degree in English education with a minor in history. As a freshly graduated teacher, he received his first job offer from Baltimore, Maryland, teaching in the middle level grades for 3 years. While in the Baltimore school system, he was chosen as the outstanding rookie teacher of the year in a district of almost 7,000 faculty. It was late July 2010 when I first came to know anything about Dave Stewart. I recall working in my office one summer day and receiving a phone call from Karen Tackman, a now retired Cedar View teacher and cognitive coach. For the next 15 minutes or so, I heard all about this teacher who had moved in next door to the family, and now how he was going to be a perfect fit for Cedar Springs and our mission, vision, and academic focus. Well, it just happened to be that I was in need of a long-term substitute teacher for a faculty member who was going on maternity leave. So I arranged an interview with Mr. Stewart, made some reference calls after that, and hired him for the long-term subbing position. Upon the successful completion of the substitute position, the district found some grant money, and we hired Mr. Stewart into the faculty to teach out the rest of the school year and eventually to develop and teach a new humanities course in what is now called the Gear Up Academy for Freshmen. During Mr. Stewart's tenure as a teacher in Cedar, he has completed the following: his Master's of Education in Curriculum and Instruction from the American College of Indianapolis, Indiana. Received a fellowship from the Lake Michigan Writing Project. Founded teachingthecore.com, a blog for teachers that received over 80,000 views in its first year. Published several articles and 3 books. And those books are A Guide to Teaching the Common Core, Never Finished, Continually Becoming the Teacher You Want to Be, and lastly, These 6 Things, How to Focus Your Teaching on What Matters Most. He's provided professional development for teachers in Cedar Springs, across the nation, and even internationally. He has secured thousands of dollars through grant funding for the purchase of books and supplies for his classroom. Mr. Stewart has been named runner-up for the Michigan Teacher of the Year twice, once in 2014-15 school year, and then again in the 2017-18 school year. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my privilege and distinct honor to call upon Mr. Dave Stewart, a proud Cedar Springs High School faculty member chosen by the class of 2020 for the commencement address.
Class of 2020, congratulations on entering this new phase of your life. When I think of your faces on the banners around town, I smile because I know that the worlds of college and military and career and job and trade that you're entering now are receiving wonderful and thoughtful human beings. I know that I echo the sentiments of all your teachers at Cedar Springs Public Schools from all your years here when I say that it's been a distinct privilege getting to be a small part of your life and a pleasure. So here's a problem that I've been having with this. How do you give a commencement address to a group that has already commenced? For many of you, you've already started the trade school. You've begun your military training. You're signed up for your classes in the fall. Your lockers are cleaned out. Your diplomas are collected. You've walked across the stage. How do you commence people who've already commenced? I don't know. So I'm just going to tell you a story that has been helpful to me over the past few months, and I'll leave you with that. The story is about a man named Viktor Frankl, a psychologist who in the early 1940s found himself living in the torment of a Nazi concentration camp. As you know from your history classes, these camps existed to extract labor and life from groups deemed subhuman by the Nazi political regime. In Frankl's case, he was assigned to a camp that had a hard labor work site several miles away from the camp. And each morning he would have to march his way to the site, and then he would work all day, and then he would march his way back. On one occasion, Frankl recalls that he was marching to the work site yet again in ceaseless pain. Almost in tears from the pain, I had terrible sores on my feet from wearing torn shoes. I limped a few kilometers with our long column of men from the camp to our work site. Very cold and bitter winds struck us. And in response to this misery, Frankl found his mind automatically looping through the pressing concerns of his day. I kept thinking of the endless little problems of our miserable life. What would there be to eat tonight? If a piece of sausage came as extra ration, should I exchange it for a piece of bread? Should I trade my last cigarette, which was left from a bonus I received a fortnight ago, for a bowl of soup? How could I get a piece of wire to replace the fragment which served as one of my shoelaces? Would I get to our work site in time to join my usual working party, or would I have to join another, which might have a brutal foreman? His thought patterns, small and repetitive and fixated on the day-to-day, bothered him. I became disgusted, he writes, with the state of affairs which compelled me daily and hourly to think only of such trivial things. I'm going to come back to that, but first let's get to Franco's breakthrough. At that point in the march, I forced my thought to turn to another subject. Suddenly I saw myself standing on the platform of a well-lit, warm, and pleasant lecture room. In front of me sat an attentive audience on comfortable upholstered seats. I was giving a lecture on the psychology of the concentration camp. All that oppressed me at that moment became objective, seen and described from the remote viewpoint of science. By this method, I succeeded somehow in rising above the situation, above the sufferings of the moment, and I observed them as if they were already past. Now, Franco had two epiphanies during this story. One of them, if he would have stopped there, would have inevitably led to his death. The other, he claims, is the reason that he survived. So the first idea, the one that probably would have gotten him killed, was that suffering, whether it's really big or small, is especially deadly to the human spirit when it's meaningless. And it's most damaging when it forces our minds to focus on the little tiny things that have to happen today, the trivial, the urgent, the anxieties of tonight and tomorrow. For Franco, he found that his mind would shift from his bleeding feet and his freezing skin to what he was going to do with his sausage rations and the last cigarette he'd received a while ago. And it was this wild wandering of his thoughts over shallow concerns that tormented the thoughtful young man Franco on his walk, even more so than his physical conditions. And like I said, this realization wasn't going to save Franco. He realized that it was bound to weaken him, and it would probably kill him. But then the second idea that Franco had was that even in the dehumanizing conditions of an extermination camp, a human being cannot be separated from his or her ability to focus the mind. Franco puts it like this in his book, Man's Search for Meaning. Everything can be taken from a man but one thing, the last of human freedoms, to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances, to choose one's own way. Okay, so let's bring this back to Cedar Springs, class of 2020. What's the point for you as you commence into the next phases of your lives? I wish to leave you with two ideas that Franco has had me thinking on over the past months. First, we must focus wisely. It's common for graduation speakers to say things along the theme of, go out from today and make a great life. You can do anything. But instead, I say go out from today and focus your mind and your heart wisely, because you'll become what you focus on. Franco had very good reasons for focusing on the day-to-day, on survival, on what was trivial. But he realized that this way of focus was weakening him. So too, if you and I focus on the trivial, on our day-to-day concerns only, we must beware, because this is a path to becoming trivial and weak people. Or maybe you've noticed in yourself in the past few months a small habit of complaining about other people. I think Franco gives us cause to rid ourselves of this habit, lest we become some type of walking complaint factory, constantly critical at the fearfully and wonderfully wrought human beings that surround us every day. You see, you and I don't control unilaterally whether sports open or schools close, but we do and we always will control what we focus on. This is one of the deeply blessed and at the same time dumbfoundingly consequential responsibilities of being a human. Who you'll be in a few months shall in part be decided by what you place your attention on today. May I commend to you a simple practice of turning your phone off at least once a day and going for a walk and just thinking on this truth. And the second thing that Franco gives us is that we'll become not just what we focus on, but also will become what we do. Franco's breakthrough on that walk to the work site would not have been nearly as powerful if he had only envisioned a future where he used his concentration camp experiences to enrich himself. The vision he had, remember, was of being in an auditorium and helping other people through what he had learned in the camp. It was a vision, in other words, of acting in love, using the material of his present circumstances to do that. Class of 2020, as a middle-aged person, I'm sad to report to you that the United States that you're walking into in 2020 is not a super selfless place a lot of the time. A lot of our talk about love is focused on us. Love for me, love for what it gives me, love for how it advances my personal fulfillment. Whenever I'm in the mood, personally, to lose my appetite, all I have to do is log on, usually to social media, or watch a couple cable news talking heads, and I find in these places neighbor hating neighbor, citizen debasing citizen, friend disdaining friend. Fear and judgment and wrath and malice and slander are aplenty in the world that you enter into. And there's too little of that old-fashioned thing called love. So here's a practical step. Think of the adults who have impacted you so far in your life. Picture one or two of them. And realize that at some point they made a decision kind of like Viktor Frankl did. A decision that they were going to start to act in the ways that would make them the kinds of people who would one day be able to have an impact on somebody like you. They are not the way that they are by accident. You are not blessed by them randomly, but by countless tiny invisible actions of selfishness, actions of love. So go and thank them for their choices sooner rather than later. And then, as you commence, go about making the kinds of small day-to-day choices that will make you a consequential adult to a future graduate. So those are it. Focus your mind and your heart wisely, because you will become what you think on. And act in love, because you'll become what you do. It's not just your life that depends on these good things. It is the lives of future graduates. So now, if I may, let me end this talk with the blessing that I speak over my own children each night before they go to bed. Take this as you will. May the King of all things bless and keep you. May he make the radiance of his face shine on you. May the life that is in him be uniquely yours. May he make palpable to you his goodness and his beauty. And may you know that he's interested in your life and in the person you become. And may his love and joy and peace be yours. I thank you so much, class of 2020, for the pleasure of speaking with you today and the pleasure that it's been getting to share a little bit of life with you. I wish you all the best in the next chapter and all the chapters after that.
Thank you, Mr. Stewart, for your encouraging words to the class of 2020. You are an inspiration to all of us, and we thank you for your service to the class and to Cedar Springs Public Schools. I now call upon Harlow Hovarder for the senior class leadership's farewell address to the class of 2020.
Change is the only constant we have these days. As we navigate through the uncharted territory that this pandemic has brought us, we need to understand the role each of us play. As we are all eager to start our new journey, wherever it may take us, we need to understand that it won't be easy, that it won't be what we've been expecting for the last 12 years. But this is our opportunity to make our mark. The world around us continues to change. While there are many things that we can't control, there are just as many that we can. A lot of us found our voice here at Cedar Springs High School, and there is no better time to use it. Speak up for yourself and others, and speak out about what matters to you. But don't forget to listen. That is how we make a difference. That is how we leave our legacy as Red Hawks.
Thank you, Harlow, senior class representatives, and the student council leaders. You have done an amazing job serving your class and this high school with the support of your classmates to promote Red Hawk pride and spirit throughout the school year. Not only have you given back to your school, but you have shared your time and talents with the greater Cedar Springs community. Job well done. Board of Education President, Mrs. Heidi Reed, and the members of the Board of Education. It is with great pride and jubilation that the faculty and administration of both Cedar Springs High School and New Beginnings High School present to you the class of 2020. Of the 213 seniors presented, 189 have met all graduation requirements or program goals set forth under board policy. And as principal of both schools, I recommend that each of them be presented with a Cedar Springs Public Schools diploma or certificate. We are also excited to have 24 seniors who represent Cedar Springs' 4th cohort in the early middle college program, who, after the completion of the program next year, will receive both their high school diploma and an associate's degree from Grand Rapids Community College. I now call upon Cedar Springs High School alumnus and the voice of the Red Hawks, Mr. Trey Reed, for the official presentation of the class.
Welcome to the Cedar Springs High School graduation for the class of 2020. Our first graduate, Ethan James Huerta. Clayton James Milligan. Jack Thomas Bentley. Kaylin Mary Holloman. Gage Eden Lundquist. Jaden Brett Griffhorst. Muhammad Shinabana Ahmed. David Wise. Anthony Joseph Nimo. Trevor Ray Johnston. Layla Sky Cran. Omani Leticia Morales. Miles Lamont Cartwright. Connor Kent Ellison. Nathan Daniel Mail. Rachel Ann Els. Corey Alexander Demersky. Clifford Frederick Ranger V. Madeline Joe Ranger. Police Ranger Raimundi. Zoe Nicole Castor. Paige Nicole Pearson. Callie Erin Green. Congrats, Callie. Alana Claire Lewis. Olivia Jean Claver. Brian Lee Madison Jr. Elizabeth Lee Niederhide. Mason Richard Morey. Grace Elizabeth Marsman.
Like, nope.
And tickling your family.
Garrett James Mikowski. Callie Adrian Ringelberg.
Hey, Callie.
Samantha Lynn Rushi. Trey Jenkin Lewis. Madeline Marie Scalats. Colton Michael Moore. Jerome Robert Patton.
The bass is heavy.
Nice pass. Thank you.
What'd you say?
Yeah. Here's the all time. I know.
Nolan Ray Hall. Taya Joy Greenbauer. Riley Lynn Warner. Lane Louise Vanderlut. Lucas James Secorn. Zachary Lyle Schmidt. Julia Star Danielson. Dylan Henry McConnell. Paige Nicole Osting. Kyla Grace Andrews. Kaylee Maxine Andrews. Danzig Malachi Ray Billings. Carter Lee DeMott. Emily Catherine Wilden. Leslie Ann Rios. Olivia Juliana Esquivel. Kylie Ann Kinsley. Harlow J. Hofarter. Corey Lee, Christine Schaefer. Alexis Ariana Lee. Morgan Jean Simon. Kaylee Grace Overley. Jaden Christopher Molesky. Daniel Allen Vermont. Riley Ann Tate. Noah Robert Salisbury. Heidi Jean Zinn. Justin James Castle. Connor Dane Hall. Brady Edward Amell. Julia Marie Hammerstrom. Alexis Ann Sagman. Matthew Lee Reed. Drake David Half. Porter Augustin Kenyon. Valerie Sue Mead. David Michael Whitten. Madeline Dawn Lovell. Alexis Ann Dayton. Welcome to night 2 of our Cedar Springs High School graduation for the class of 2020. Our first graduate, Brooke Lynn Harris. Alyssa Paige O'Connor. Caitlin Lou Drum. Sydney Taylor Salinas. David Charles Erksleben Jr. Brian Noah Carell. Tatum Grace Johansson. JC Joe Michelle Myers. Carly Jane Dunham. Matthew Lucas Maxwell. Russell Trent Inman. Harrison Mako Duff. Kylie Lynn Boss. Selena Marie Feliciano Wheeler. Henry Bryce Matthew. Hallie Marie Jones. Hannah Marie Berriger. Easton Shane Mooney. Brayden Matthew Force. Gabriel Shane Park. Jared William Line. Nathaniel Bruce Webb. Riley Margaret Kinzinger. Gavin Alexander Powers.
What?
John Cody Fisk. Frederick Charles White. Grace Elizabeth Wilcox. Caden Carl Liggett. Grace Diane Pavelka. Ellie Ryan Powers. Markel Loren Peckover. Owen Patrick Sweezer. Quentin Lee Heltzel. Madison Renee Outwin.
That's my sister!
Elena Ann Lopez. Alexander Carl Draper. Ethan Jeffrey Foley. Kristen Noel Lubin. Caitlin Sue Croters. Brittany Marie Flanagan. Kaylee Elizabeth Kesavant. Isaac Anthony Saunders. Noah Hunter McGee. Angel May Shears.
All right, girl.
Rachel Nicole Zachman. Raven Claire Roman. Clyde Allen Dykehouse. Brittany Elise Scott. Jared Thomas Ovakaitis. Madison Ann Barrage. Audra Rose LeBay. Sarah Nicole DiPiazza. Tanya Rose Teppin. Mason Thomas Wahoski. Jacob Michael Roth. Christopher Cook. Larissa Marie Fettig.
There you go.
Madison Shelby Morris. Hannah Marie Green. Lauren Elizabeth Barenwald. Jessica Margaret Haynes.
Harlow Hovader, will you please commence with the turning of the tassel? Ladies and gentlemen, it is my distinct privilege to present to you the newest graduates of Cedar Springs High School, the class of 2020.